The only blessing worth counting for Chelsea in this strangest of weeks is that the Premier League operate with a softer notion of justice than the champions of Europe. To judge from this tie, Paris Saint-Germain have no interest in slaps on the wrist when a guillotine will do. It was brutal, magnificent and effective, a two-legged demonstration of what can happen when you pit a collection of exceptional parts against a disjointed, chaotic club whose most recent narratives veered between peculiar huddles and illegal transfer dealings. Chelsea might have been fortunate to survive the latter of those scenarios without a points deduction, but PSG are less forgiving than the spineless folk who run our top flight. No, Luis Enrique's side don't work that way. They are ruthless, relentless and utterly vicious, which is how they came to humiliate Liam Rossinier for a second time in the space of 7 days. We can view that through the numbers. The aggregate of 8-2 was a match for the nadir of a 7-1 hiding against Bayern Munich in 2020, but also in the detail. In the splendor of 3 superb goals by Kavica Kvaratskhelia, Bradley Barcola and Seny Mayulu. In the wider contributions of Barcola. In the saves of Matvei Safonov because, let's not forget, the defending champions have an immensely strong backbone. Against that force, Chelsea were pummeled. Not through glaring errors, just a deficiency of talent and nous and the accumulated issues that come from throwing players into a squad and hoping the churn will somehow lead to coherent, sustainable outcomes. PSG themselves have a history that signals the flaws in such a method, and Chelsea's current regime are their echo. The best they might do now is learn from this. But that won't be easy. For that, look no further than one of the challenges that faced Rossinier here. Aside from a 5-2 first-leg deficit, he faced opposition from within, manifested by the ongoing leaks of team information. As with the initial fixture, for which his entire lineup was somehow known in advance, this rerun fueled suspicions of a dissident element after it was correctly reported in France that Wesley Fofana would be dropped for Joral Hato. Fofana's demotion was no surprise when you consider the dip in his form, but repurposing a left-back at centre-half was a gamble. For it to find a way into the open suggests those in and around his squad are none too fussed about sharing his plans. Worrying. Not that it would have made much of a difference to this tie. PSG were sublime. PSG were precise. PSG looked like contenders to win the whole thing. Again. Chelsea? From the moment they relocated their much-discussed pre-match huddle away from the center spot, they had the ring of a side knocked off balance, unsure of their footing and outclassed in every meaningful way. Exhibit A. The first goal, scored after 6 minutes. Mamadou Sarr, a centre-half clumsily stationed at right back, had an age to track the flight of Matvei Safonov's 70-yard punt from the fringe of the PSG area and still got himself in a muddle. Attempting to control with the outside of his left boot, he got his touch horrible wrong and teed up Kvaratskhelia to nip in and lash a finish across Robert Sanchez. That was the death of hope. But still PSG pushed on, and Exhibit B was pretty special, tracing to the smothering of Moises Caicedo when Warren Zaire-Emery first won possession 60 yards from the Chelsea goal. He and Achraf Hakimi then led the break at speed before Barcola responded to a questionable first touch by rocketing his second into the top corner.